Hey, so I posted earlier on Blue Sky that I finally figured out how to put locks and rings on my glove paws, so I thought I'd make a little video about it. During the winter, I made these two glove paws because I wanted something that was a little easier to transport than my big paws, and these style of paws fit better for some occasions or some gear that I'm wearing. And I thought it would be a fun challenge. I saw these base sort of suede-ish leather gloves at the local hardware store. They cost me a total of $10 Canadian for those two gloves. Then I bought some fur from the dollar store, which costs approximately $3 to cover both gloves. I've ordered the acrylic claws are from Etsy. I found a maker there, and ordered a set of those for approximately $40. And maybe the most expensive part of these gloves was actually the fake leather pads. I had to buy a roll of it. It's quite a bit more than I need, but I'll have enough for 10 more pairs of gloves. So all in all, it wasn't very expensive to make these, and I only spent maybe a total of 5 hours of sewing the fur to the fingers and the back of the glove. I left the palm empty, or furless, I should say, because it's easier to clean that way, and that's mostly what you're touching stuff with. So since I made these paws, I also made these sort of rope cuffs, and I'll take one off here so you can see what that looks like. So it's a very simple construction. It's basically one length of rope doubled and fold back on itself, and then in one end I have sewed a loop. Okay, and then the rope passes through that loop, and on the other end I have sewed the two ends over each other to make sort of a stopper so it doesn't easily pull out. And that's it. That's the entire cuff. The part I couldn't figure out for the longest time was, how can I make these locking? I tried a few different things and I thought about it a lot. And just today, because I had to replace one of these cuffs since I lost one, and I was sewing the loop at the end, and I finally saw the answer. And so I'm going to show you what I've done here. On the rope, I think you can see there's two little indentations here, one by each of my thumbs. And that gives me two different places where I can do the lock. And I just did that by sewing some thread through the rope and then around itself, and much the same way I closed the loop over here. So let me put this on. Okay, and you can see normally those are just decorative and they don't have there's no impeding of my wrist going in or out, and you're not feeling it at all. It just I like the way they look. It gives another accent color to the hand paw. So now if I pull the rope here, we can see it tightens around the wrist, but if I let it go, it's going to loosen up. But with those two different options I've given myself, I have two places where I can put a lock. So let's give it a shot. All right, so in the first position, I can pull it through here, and you see if I put the lock there right before the thread. Still haven't done this many times, and the gap in the rope is a bit fiddlesome right now. I will spend some time making this a little easier and stretching the rope a little bit in that place. But if I put the lock through the rope, you can see now I have locked the rope with the lock, and I can no longer remove the glove. And so that's pretty cool. But I think there's a more interesting option here when using section 2. So let's try that. In configuration 2, if we pull the rope back around and have the extra go over the wrist, I can insert my lock in position number 2 here. If we put the captive ring on the rope before we put the rope in the lock. Now we are again locked. The lock is on top of the wrist, so it's not in the way of anything happening on the palm. But now you see we have a captive ring, which I can't focus on there. See, we have this captive ring now in the rope, which lets us do other things, which may or may not be interesting. So there it is. We now have locks on our glove paws. The final secret that I uncovered that I didn't even realize, which is just a side effect of how I sewed the fur on these gloves, is that the back of the hand of the glove is just one large piece of fur, and I didn't bother sewing it shut. So I actually have a pocket here on the back of the hand, which is quite large, and the lock and ring could go in there on each side, and I don't really even feel them. Like they're literally not making any difference to me with the glove, but I could definitely use these as pockets. I just secure with a button, and then that way I have a way to transport the locks and keys and rings with the gloves themselves. Yeah, all in all, I think it's pretty neat. And if you're interested in more about how these glove paws were constructed, leave a comment down below, and I might put together sort of how to, if you want to make your own pair of gloves.